Hi everybody, this is Wayne Andrews with Pale Rider Training. We're going to do this video about basic maintenance and cleaning of your pistol. The reason that we are doing our first video about firearms maintenance and cleaning is because we've had so many people ask us about it. We don't have time to cover it in our courses, so figured we'd put it out here as a startup video. We planned on putting our first video out there about an introduction to ourselves, what we do, what we stand for, what we have up and coming. But since how we've never done anything on video before, we're still a little bit camera shy. So we're going to start off with showing you how to properly clean a firearm. If you're a military expert or a law enforcement officer or someone who deals with firearms on a regular basis, a firearms enthusiast and whatnot, you probably know exactly how to do this procedure. But people who are brand new to firearms or have just gotten their first firearm don't know the ins and outs of cleaning a gun, what they need to buy, how they need to handle it, how often they need to clean it, and all those things. So we're going to cover that here. First off, you're going to have to get some materials for working on your firearm. And you can go a couple different routes with this. Myself, because I clean so many firearms, I've spent the extra money and went out there and bought a sonic cleaner. Basically, I take my guns apart, put them in a bath. They do a procedure while it's in the bath called sonic cleaning. I pull them out, I blow them off with an air gun, I wipe them down, I oil them up, and they're good to go. Saves me a lot of time. Most people probably don't have the need for a sonic cleaner. So you're going to want to get some basic cleaning tools around. And one of the easiest ways to do this is just buy a kit. You can buy a kit like this online. We have a link to kits like this on our website, www.paleridertraining.com. Under our products and offers pages, we have different links to different things that you might need for shooting or safety, and kits like this is one of them. Now this kit here is specifically for a 30 caliber rifle. You want to make sure to get the kit that goes with your gun. This here is a 9mm. If I was going to buy a kit for this, I'd buy a kit that's built for a 9mm. Now, those kits might not specifically say 9mm on them. Kits that are built for 357s, 38 specials, and 380s are all the same bullet diameter and barrel diameter as a 9mm, so they will work for your 9mm. So inside this kit comes some essential tools. You take this apart here, open it up. Inside of here is a cleaning rod and a handle. That's something that you're going to want. Now this comes with multiple cleaning rods because it's for a rifle, but this one cleaning rod and handle will work for a pistol. So you got your cleaning rods. Then you got some sort of solvents. Now this comes with your solvent. This Boar cleaner will help clean the copper residue, the copper fouling, the lead fouling, and the carbon residue off the inside of your firearm. And then we got some lubrication oil here as well. After you're done cleaning and wiping your gun down, you want to lube up some spots on it, which we'll discuss a little bit later. Also inside of this kit comes some patches. This is what we clean our barrel with. And then comes a couple little tools here. This here is a bore brush, which is caliber specific. And then we have a jag and a loop for pushing patches through there. I'll show you how these work in a little while as well. Now, besides just these tools that come in here, I suggest that you get a few other things. One of those few things that I suggest that you get is some Q-tips. Now, regular Q-tips from the store will work okay. Dollar store, Walmart Q-tips, whatever. The biggest problem with them is that they're short and they come apart really easily. You can see all the fuzzies on there where this is coming apart. So those work okay. Even better yet are these medical style Q-tips that you get for swabbing stuff in the medical industry. If you can get your hands on a bunch of these, they work a lot better. First off, they're longer and the tip doesn't come apart quite as easy. So those work out really well. Also, an absolutely essential tool to cleaning your firearm is one of these brushes. Looks kind of like a toothbrush. The bristles are a little bit harder and it has a big end and a small end on it, and the small end helps you get into tighter spots inside your firearm. So I recommend getting one of these. Now, if you don't want to go out there and buy a kit, you can clean your gun with a few other inexpensive parts. You could go out there and buy just some CLP, which is basically an all-in-one cleaner, lubricator, protector, preservative, which is what CLP stands for. In the military, this, and some rods and brushes is all that we use. So you can get this. you can do a quick down and dirty job on your firearm with some cans of aerosol stuff. They don't do the best job, but for a quick clean job, it works out pretty well. You can get something called Boar Scrubber. Now, multiple different companies make this. This one's made by Birchwood Casey. You spray this inside your firearm, and it helps remove and release the copper fouling, the lead fouling, and the carbon buildup in there. Spray this in there pretty generously, and then you can hit it with something like Powder Blast. This sprays off all the gunk that you loosened up with the Boar Scrubber. Also comes in an aerosol can. Now we can also get some different types of solvents. This here is a solvent that you can wipe on the inside of your firearm and in your barrel that does the same thing as those other solvents do, like this. Helps just remove all of that buildup from copper, lead, and carbon inside your firearm. And then some of them come in little spray canisters like this. This one here is also made by Hops, which they've been around for a long time. I trust their products, and so do most other shooters that I know. So we can get some things like this. Now, once we've got our tools around, everything to do with firearms, we have to worry about safety. Now, I highly suggest that you wear a pair of safety glasses when you're cleaning your firearm. You don't want to get some gunk or residue or little pieces of copper or carbon in your eyes, so you're going to want to definitely wear some safety glasses. Then I also recommend getting some disposable nitrile gloves. I don't have any with me right now, so I'm not going to use any for this demonstration, but they will definitely help you out. You don't want those chemicals to leach into your skin and make you sick or whatever. So, like I said, step number one is safety. So, the first thing when we're looking at any gun for any reason is treat every firearm as if it were loaded. Many people have accidentally shot themselves, shot somebody else, or accidentally discharged their firearm when they've gone to clean their gun, and they don't properly check to make sure that it's unloaded. So step number one is make sure your gun's pointed in a safe direction. Push the magazine release and release your magazine. So once we got that done, I'm going to tell you to check multiple times to make sure that your chamber is clear. So I'm going to pull my slide back a couple times, then I'm going to lock my slide open with pushing the slide lock lever up, catching the slide to the rear just like this. One more time. And then I'm going to look inside my chamber to make sure that it is clear. Now my firearm is clear. Set my magazine off to the side. Now I've got to worry about taking it apart. There's many different models of handguns out there, and most of them come apart in some kind of different way. Glocks are very, very easy to take apart. So to take it apart, step number one, obviously make sure it's clear. No magazine, no round in chamber. Step number two is going to be to grab my firearm here with the webbing in between my thumb and my forefinger up underneath the dovetail here. Pull my slide back just a little bit, and then I'm going to pull these two tabs down. There's one on either side, one here and one here. I'm going to pull that slide back just a little bit, pull these tabs down, release my slide, then pull my trigger, and my slide is going to come off. Now, once I got my firearm apart this far, I want to tell you, if you're not super familiar with firearms, if you're not a gunsmith or somebody who's used to taking these things apart, you only want to field strip your firearm. So, step number one, take the upper slide off the lower slide. And this is as far apart as I want to take my lower assembly here. My lower receiver. I'm going to set that off to the side. Now I'm going to take my upper slide and barrel assembly apart. Step number one of that is to push my guide rod and spring in this direction and release it, pull it out, set it off. Now I need to take my barrel out. To do that, I'm just going to press up on it here and pull it out. That's as far apart as you want to take your firearm. Now once I get it this far, I want to coat it with a little bit of one of my different types of solvent that removes carbon, lead, and copper. To make this fast, I'm just going to use the one that you spray on there. I'm going to spray it up in here, make sure to get my bolt face there. I'm going to spray it on my barrel. So you want to make sure to get the back side of your barrel here, where your feed ramp is at really good. Inside my barrel. Get the crown of my barrel down inside of there, spray my guide rod down, put a few squirts in here. Then I'm going to let that set for a few minutes. When it's done setting for a few minutes, I'm going to get my handy little brush out and I'm going to scrub on it. I'm going to make sure to get up in here, scrub this down really well, make sure to get my bolt face, scrub that really well. I'm going to scrub all over inside of here and help that solvent release all of that stuff that shouldn't be inside my firearm. Copper fouling, lead fouling. See all that black stuff coming off on my fingers? This gun hasn't been fired that much since the last time I shot it. This is one of my guns that I use for students in classes, so I have a different one of the same model of firearm that I shoot. This is a Glock 19 Gen 4, I believe. No, it's a Gen 3. No, it's a Gen 4, sorry. Tell by the guide riding spring it's a Gen 4 in the magazine release. So brush it down really good. Then I'm going to take my cleaning rod and my boar brush. I'm going to put some of this solvent on my boar brush, and I'm going to run it through the inside of my barrel. Once I think I got that pretty good, I'm going to take this off of here, and I'm going to put my jag on there, or my little eyelet here. So I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to take one of these patches that came in that kit, or two of them. Sometimes you got to double or triple them up to get them to kind of fit tightly through your barrel. And I'm going to fold them in half like this, and I'm going to run them through this eyelet here, kind of like threading a needle. Then I'm going to push this through my barrel a few times. See all that buildup coming off on there? Once those are good and dirty, I'll grab a few more, stick them up in there. I'll keep doing this until they come out relatively clean. See, that's a lot cleaner than what the first one was. Still not where I want it at exactly, but it's good enough for demonstration. You want to get it good and clean. Once you think you got your bore clean, you want to take it and hold it up to the light and look in here so you can see the lands and grooves and make sure there's no rust, no pitting, and no buildup left on there. So I'm going to hold this up to the light, look through it. Looks pretty clean. And then I'm going to take a rag and or my Q-tips, and I'm going to wipe all this stuff off inside the rest of the parts that I wiped down with that solvent. You're going to have to use Q-tips to get to a lot of these parts in here. I like to use these shop rags. They come in rolls like paper towels, but they hold up quite a bit better than paper towels do. So wipe it down as best I can with one of these. Get all that residue off of there. Then I'm going to start grabbing a few Q-tips and doing the same thing. Wiping all that stuff down with Q-tips. Get as much of the solvent and the buildup off of there as I can. See how dirty that's coming out? And this is only, this only had a couple hundred rounds through it since the last time it was cleaned. A lot of people ask me how often should you clean your firearm. As often as you want to. And I mean, keep it relatively as clean as possible. If you want to clean it after every time you shoot, great. If you're carrying it around for a little while, pull it off, wipe it down, check your barrel, make sure there's nothing obstructing it, clean it off. Just carrying it is going to attract dust and grime and residue. Your weapon's going to work a lot better if it's clean. Probably the biggest reason that I see for malfunctions on the range is dirty firearms or unoiled dry firearms. A lot of people bring guns to classes that have never been cleaned and they don't like to work. Take care of your firearm and it'll take care of you. So I'm going to try to get as much of that residue and fouling and carbon buildup off of there as I can. Once I got that done, if you want, you can get some dental picks and scrub down these little corners and crevices in here with the dental picks, places that you can't reach real well with the brush or anything. Now, once we're relatively satisfied that we got this thing cleaned up, we're going to oil it back up and put it back together. So to oil it up, you don't want to over oil your firearm. You don't want to oil the outside of your firearm. All you want to do is put a few drops of oil on the rail where the metal contact is at, just a little bit. And I like to put a drop down in here in the springs and a drop down in here in the springs, just to make sure the springs are moving smoothly. So I'll take some oil that came in my kit there. I'll put a few drops on this rail here, a few drops on this rail here, maybe a drop back here, one drop inside. And then I'm going to put my upper slide assembly back together. Step number one to that is to take my barrel, drop it back down in here, and slide it in there till it locks in place. Push it forward and pull it back. Then I'm going to take my spring. I'm going to lock my spring down into this little step right here. You just got to use a little bit of force, push it forward, let it set in that spring. Then these grooves on my back of my slide should line up with these grooves right here. Now I'm going to do a functions check. Then I'm going to pull my slide back and forth a few times. Work that oil down my slide, and I'm going to wipe off the excess. And voila, that's a quick and easy firearms cleaning tutorial. If your gun doesn't come apart the same as this gun, it probably has some kind of takedown lever or pin. I'm going to show you real quick on a couple other guns what I'm talking about with that. So, for instance, with this Ruger SR9C here, step number one, make sure it's clear. No magazine inserted. Pull the slide back, check the chamber. Then I'm going to lock my slide rearward, and I'm going to have to get this pin out. Start pushing from this side. Use the back side of like your brush. Push that pin out. Pull it out the rest of the way. And then I'm going to release my slide and pull my trigger. Slide comes right apart. Then it's the same steps as the last one. Take your guide rod and spring off, pull your barrel out. To put it back together, it's the same thing in reverse. Put your barrel in, your guide rod and spring back in there. Line the grooves up. Lock the slide back. Put your takedown pin back in there. Send your slide forward. This one here, it does not manually cock the trigger when there's no magazine inserted. So I'm going to pull the trigger out, squeeze the trigger, make sure it works. Some guns have just a takedown lever. This here is one of those styles of firearms. Basically the same thing as this Ruger. Make sure it's clear, no magazine inserted, no round in chamber. I'm going to lock my slide to the rear. This is my takedown lever right here. I'm going to pop this down, and then it's the same thing as the rest of the gun. Send my slide forward, pull my trigger, take it apart. Then we got our guide rod and spring and our barrel. To put it back together, just do everything in the reverse method. Put this piece back together, line our grooves up, pull it back, lock the slide rearward, put our takedown lever back in place. Quick, easy way to clean a firearm. Now, like I said, this is our first video we've ever put out. So there's not going to be a lot of people subscribing to or watching our channel. I need your help getting the word out. This is not all we're going to do. We're going to be covering a lot of stuff. A lot of training drills, a lot of shooting videos, a lot of recommendations and reviews of different products, firearms related products, but we're also going to talk about a few other things. Possibly some current events, things happening in the news, a little bit about politics, and maybe even some odd things that interest me that may interest you as well. Just other things that happen around the world. So I appreciate you watching the video. I'm going to put links to our Facebook page, our Patreon page, and our website down below. Subscribe to our channel, like our channel, pass it around, and hopefully we have some bigger, better things out here soon. Take it easy and have a good day.